Everyone, and welcome to another Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm your host, Will Schick, Director of Product Development for Atomic Mass Games, and today we're going to be painting the incomparable Deadpool. We're just going to have fun with this miniature today because when I asked the glorious Summer what we were painting, I was informed that Deadpool was the man of the hour. I have no real plan going into this. I've asked Summer how she wants her Deadpool painted. She has mentioned that she likes magentas and purples, so we're just going to play with that. I'm thinking like some synthwave. I'm really into a synthwave kick with all this stuff that I've been painting, but why not? I like vivid, bright colors. I love purples, love magentas, so let's just dive in and do it. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna have some fun, we're just gonna mix some colors and go crazy on this Deadpool, make him really fun, make him really silly. I chose the silly kicky pose option for this one just because I knew that we were probably gonna have a little bit of fun with him. So let's dive in and let's start painting Mr. Wade Wilson. Okay. So I got most of my colors out. I'll probably need a few more as we go, but it's all fine. I also have a huge selection of colors. Over here, I'll probably be playing with some of the fluoros as well. There's my fluoro pink. Let's see if I can find that fluoro blue at some point. But let's turn on this light so he gets a little brighter. Let there be light. All right. Oh, the weather in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest is rainy. It is so wet. It's gross. Nobody likes it. Yeah, we got that classic April showers kick at the end of March here going on. It's pretty uncool. But, you know, it's part of the deal when you're out here and stuff. It's just what you expect. All right, let's get a little bit of white in there. I don't want this to go super, super pink. But I do want to make some like cool kind of like colors here. So a little bit of the phthalo blue with red. Again, I'm mostly using Chimera colors. I'm going to be grabbing some, more than likely, some of the bottled scale colors as well. Like I definitely want to use some fluoros in here just to really like amp everything up and make it look really cool. Do some fancy artist stuff and maybe make a progression on this little wet palette here so that I have a bit more of a plan going into it. And this way I'll have my shades, my highlights, everything like right there so I can just see it. Looks beautiful. And we'll just hope that we have enough. Okay, so let's see. Normally we got the red on the inside, so I think we're gonna Spider-Man it up. We're gonna start here. We'll do this. Pink in the middle, this magenta. And we'll just start like knocking it around here. Not really worrying about doing any kind of like washing or high contrast painting. We're just going to kind of go old school on it. So I'm going to lay down this base color. I'll let the Zenith do a little bit of work for me. Like I'm not going to too thin coats it or anything like that. But I'm not particularly going to worry necessarily about, you know, letting the Zenith do all the work. I'm going to let my color progressions do more of the work today. So we're going to do some like two brush style blending and all of that stuff. Get over here. Do our best to avoid his little eyeball, whatever, his visor colors. I don't really know. What would you call those things around his mask, Summer? Yeah. His eyeball guards, I guess. Oh, now we gotta come in and like do this all weird. This is the joy of painting on a stand. You move the brush, you don't move the miniature. Makes for some awkwardness. Awkward positions, Summer. That's what happens here. I know everybody out in Marvel Crisis Protocol land is really jonesing for that next BK Summer like big hit. Looking for what's going on, what's coming up next, and there are things. We have many things in the works, but I don't know when those things are going to get announced. How about you, Summer? Do you know? Do you have any like coming soon announcements?
That are coming soon, yes, sir.
Oh yeah, there are announcements coming soon. What a terrible response. Such a monster. Let's see what's going on there. Built and primed a few miniatures and noticed that some gaps where the joints connect and he thought of how to fix. Depends on the size of the gap. That is pretty normal, just as a heads up. The engineering process, the tooling process, the molding process, all of that equates to the fact that you're going to have, you're taking two halves of something and you're sticking them together. So you are going to wind up with potentially like small gap lines and stuff. There are a couple easy ways to address those. The first of which is my favorite method, is to just use glue. Especially if you're using like thin plastic cement, so the stuff that you typically do with a brush applicator, and it's meant to run into cracks and crevices. So the really like the super thin stuff or the thin stuff, you can actually take the brush, and after you have the miniature parts assembled and set, you can dive in and you can take a little bit of that thin and you can run it through the cracks and basically fill up the little cracks, and then take a fine grit sanding file. So like a jeweler file or whatever. You can get like an emery board that's really nice, and what's the word that I want? Like a really fine grit emery board. And you can go in and actually sand down the little gap, and the glue will have filled the gap a bit. And because of the way that thin cement and stuff sets and melts the plastic, you can smooth most of those like really minor gaps completely flat, and you'll never even know they were there. So that's my favorite way to do it, because it doesn't require you to pull out any putty. It doesn't require any kind of different mixture. There are some really great, like Timea and several other hobby miniatures supply groups make ready-made filler. So like there's a Vallejo one, and it's like right out of the bottle. There's no mixing required. But it's just like a one-and-go putty, and you can actually use that to fill gaps that maybe are slightly larger, or gaps that don't quite fill up with the glue method. And those are really easy to use because you just kind of like squeeze them out onto a disposable piece of like cardboard, or you can put them in your palette because you can wash or wipe them away. And the neat thing with a lot of those is you can just fill the gap using like a cheap sculpting tool or a little plastic sculptor. And then you can actually use your finger, depending on the area, and wipe away the excess material, and it'll just automatically fill the gap in nice and smooth, and you won't have to worry about anything in terms of like buildup or anything like that, because you just wipe off all the excess and push it into that crack or the crevice really simply and easily. So that can be a great way to do it. And then, of course, if you're dealing with something that's a bit wider of a join issue, for example, maybe you rebuilt something or you did a conversion and swapped some parts, or if you're really particular and let's say you're looking to do something for the painting competition, like a worthy competition or whatever, you're going to want to take the time, grab some 2-part epoxy putty, that classic like green stuff or brown stuff. I know you've seen Dallas use it. I think he was using it last week on his stream when he was doing that big diorama set piece on stream. That was 2 weeks ago, I think. Mix that up, and then you go through the whole process of just filling the sculpt or filling the gaps and smoothing out the sculpt, any kind of imperfections that you don't like, using the putty. That process I almost never do. It is absolutely not necessary for a great looking miniature that's meant for the tabletop. 100% necessary for anything that you're going to put into competition, though. Don't cut corners on your worthy miniatures. If you're going to be spending more than a few hours or something on one character or one piece, and you want it to go into competition, that's the time to break out, that's the time to break out the high-end sculpting putty, the tools, and really push yourself to make sure that miniature is the perfect canvas it can be. With this Deadpool here, I literally just used the glue method. So all of like the little minor build gaps and stuff, I just took my super thin Timea glue, ran it through the cracks, took my super nice jeweler file, and then kind of smoothed out anything that was too was still showing, and by and large you can't even tell where the joins are anymore. And that's the strength of obviously hard plastic. If you're working in a material like soft plastic, you can do the glue trick, but you use super glue instead. And what you want to do there is you want to glob out a bit of super glue onto a disposable surface or a working surface that you don't care about. Let the glue set until it's like tacky, and then use like a toothpick or some kind of applicator tool and mush it in there, and then you can file it back out. So it's a little different when you're working with super glue than when you're working with plastic glue. You want that super glue to get a little tacky. And of course you can do the super glue method, which I know Dallas does quite a bit on hard plastic miniatures as well. So if you don't want to necessarily use the plastic cement style stuff, you can 100% do the same glue method with super glue. The big trick with the super glue though is that, again, apply it onto a surface first, like onto a palette basically, and then once it's a little tacky, once it's kind of like sticky and goopy, grab your applicator, go in there, and start working it out. So a lot of different ways to approach that, and there's tons of videos and suggestions, lots of different like hobby aids and materials that you can do. They're all set out there, but for me, the most efficient and effective method is always that glue method. It's just so quick and easy, and you know, you've got your glue like right there, so it really doesn't matter. And that is definitely the way that I prefer overall to work with that stuff. I'm mixing up a little bit more shade here for the back side, so I know his back is going to be a bit darker than his front because it's all in shadow, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to kind of like go through and mix up a little bit of shade color. I'm matching my work in progress over here, so this will kind of be my reference for when I run out of color, because I never mix quite enough. I'm very conservative with my paint, and when you're doing stuff like this, you really shouldn't be. But my problem is that, you know, I take my wet palette home with me, and you can't travel with the wet palette and have the paints like really stay the way they're supposed to. So I always lose my paint. So I try to be a little bit more like conservative when I'm doing this stuff, but it's probably not for the best. Okay. Oh man, Summer, are you gonna show me what's up with this Deadpool when we get back to gaming streams? Yeah? You got to figure out the rest of your roster, though. We got the Deadpool. Now we got to figure out the rest of it. Start doing some research here. I promised Summer that one of these days I was going to come in around lunch and we were going to start painting. So you got to pick out those extra characters. That's what we'll work on during our lunchtime paint jams. Let's hang out and we'll get your Magenta Force 1 like all set up, ready to go. That assumes that I actually like let you take this Deadpool. By the time that I'm done with him, I'm going to be like, man, this is great. I love these colors. And I'll just keep them. So all I'm doing now is I'm just going through and I'm doing some two-brush blending with my colors. And that just involves using two brushes, one of which is a little damp but clean in my mouth. And I swap them back and forth, and this just lets me do, basically it just lets me do natural blends on the miniature itself. And so it's a really quick way to get some nice transitions and smooth color gradients between my two colors. And it is a technique that Dallas Kemp has really mastered, and I have done my best to learn from him. It is a pretty fun one to learn, and mostly it just involves getting really good at swapping your brush from one place to the other. All right, and of course, we're going to do our best here, but there are just going to be areas of this miniature I'm not going to be able to get to, and I'll have to do that in the cleanup phase later on. Come back under here, get that high contrast going on, right where his head is bent back. Come in and pull that color up, so. that side of the face more in shadow. Get some shadows in here around the muscles. Define his little muscles. Those are important. It's true. I mean, a magenta X-Force is pretty smart. Magenta Force, yeah. X-Genta Force, as it were. All right. Come in and get this stuff in. And then knock this out. Come over here. And we can always go back if we decide that we want a little bit more shadow or shade. Be a big deal. Especially on the back side. Like, we talk about this a lot too, and this is definitely going to be one of those times where I really follow this pattern, but you know, focus on the places that you're going to be able to see the most, and then you can keep the rest of it in shadow. So like, this whole back is so curved that as long as I kind of just do the shadow colors, I don't have to worry too much about highlighting those. No one's really going to notice. No one's going to be looking too much at his butt. So it's going to work out just fine in that regard. Let's go here. What color should the swoosh be? I kind of really am, I'm looking forward to painting that swoosh. So you got to think about that. Start coming in with our little highlight colors here. Make sure those are smooth, nice and crisp. We're just really going to push, like what I'm trying to do here is just push the contrast as much as possible. And I will probably pull out some of that fluoro pink to really get it amped up, and we'll just see how that reacts with everything. So, keep going here. Build those colors up. Bright neon green swoosh. Oh my gosh. It would go well with magenta. That is true. Building up a swoosh in neon green, though, might be a little difficult without an airbrush, which I do have access to now, actually. It's sitting right here, but I hadn't planned on using it, so I'm not airbrush prepared, as it were. Okay, I'm just going to go in, do some highlighting on the leg, put on the knee, but again, I'm just trying to push that really like high contrast feel. So I'm not trying to necessarily make these highlights like super thick. I want that kind of like glow neon effect. So somebody mentioned like black light. That's definitely kind of the idea here. You know, that synthwave feel is to get that black light kind of experience where the light does hit the high spots and makes the glow happen, but it doesn't necessarily, it's not strong enough to get into most of the shadows. And so I think we were just really kind of going down this super poppy high contrast idea right now. And we're just going to see how that turns out. And we got to figure out what we want to do on the interior of the suit, or the exterior panels of the suit. And then we'll have to maybe replicate that on his boots and stuff. So I wasn't going to worry too much about highlights back there, but I do want a little bit, just in case, you know, just in case. But not much, just enough to show that we were thinking about it. No, I don't think we ever reached out to one Mr. Ryan Reynolds. I told Josh that when we were doing the original Deadpool video, I was like, you should find out. You should reach out. I don't think we ever heard back. It was sad. That'd be phenomenal, though. I'm all in. So, if the one and only Mr. Wade Wilson himself happens to be watching this little hobby stream of ours, you let us know. Get right in. We'll get you set up. Dallas will paint you any color Deadpool you want. How's that? Any Deadpool color you want. Knock this out. Get that. Get that. And again, I've moved on to my even like lighter color. This is really a true pink right now, but I'm trying to be super careful with it because, well, it is a perfect highlight. If I use too much of it, it will trick that eye into thinking that instead of the suit being like this kind of blue magenta like we started out with, it will make the suit feel pink, and we don't want the suit to feel pink. Dallas already did an amazing pink Deadpool, a pink pool, if you will. We want synthwave pool. And so it's going to be all about balancing those colors to get the eye to see what we want. It's similar to, as we talk about, like painting white or yellows or oranges. So much of those colors that you see are not, they're not true yellow, they're not true white. You're looking mostly at shadow, and then the extreme highlight is the part that really makes your eye read it as something. So in this case, if I'm not careful with my pink, my pinkish highlight, I'm going to wind up in a situation where the suit will look less magenta and it'll look more pink, and that's not what I want here. So it's all about balance and coming back and knowing everything. So all right, just want a bit more of this color right here. A little stronger. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna grab a little fluoro pink though, and we're just gonna mess around here and see what happens if we just a little bit of this, very sparingly, kind of mark it in some of those extreme highlights. I don't think this will be too noticeable, just because normally you want to put that fluoro over a white to really make it kind of like shine, but I just want to see if it'll kiss kind of the camera. One of the things that fluoros do is they reflect light super well, so especially when something's like on camera or having photos taken of it, that fluoro will really pop, whereas in reality, looking at it with your eye, it is pretty vibrant, but it's not quite the same. They're definitely an effect that works super well for the camera though, just in the way in which they reflect that light, the way in which the cameras kind of see what's going on there. All right. No adjustment to Deadpool's card. I think Deadpool doesn't need an adjustment. I mean, Deadpool would give himself an adjustment, I'm sure. We're just painting one Wade Wedpool. Yeah, that's it. I'm on top of the game. We're just painting Mr. Wilson for some fun today. While we wait for, the glorious the magnanimous BK and Summer to come in and open up that delicious, delicious floodgate of more reveal goodness. They control the water of hype, the hype water, if you will. But never fear, there's a lot of cool stuff coming. We've talked a little bit about it and just where we're going, but one of the big things that we're really trying to do this year, especially with everything that's going on and a lot of different delays, we're trying not to, get everybody super excited about something and then have global logistics or pandemics or other things that are completely outside our control kind of sneak in and then turn that genuine excitement into a long wait. I always feel like anticipation is so much better than waiting. So once you know it's coming, it's like, okay, well, just get here. Right now, everybody gets to, be excited for what's coming next. You get to know that there are things that are coming next, some pretty exciting announcements and stuff. You don't know what those are, so sky's the limit. You can believe that it's anything. It could be the Marvel Crisis Protocol Boat Edition. It's not, but it could be. It's not, though. Don't think it's that. Don't quote me on that. That's not happening. It's not real. Shh. I think that's part of the fun of anything, in life is getting to dream big and think about what's coming and what's coming next. I'll be honest with you, Summer. It might be time to break out some Holdra Blue. That's what I'm thinking.
Go for it, sir.
I know. It's been so long since we cracked out the Holdra Blue, or I've used it. I've been mixing so many colors lately. Trying to be all fancy and swanky. Ugh, gross.
Putting our paint can to use.
That's right. I'll put the Holdra Blue out there. It's fine. Where does that? I think we gotta come over this way. There we go. There we go. All right, Mr. Deadpool. Okay, now we just have to find the Holdra Blue, which may or may not happen. Was there some over here? No, these are all ink tenses, ink tense cyan. Oh, I'm just so unprepared. I don't even know where it is. We had so many of them too at one point. Let's see. Choose to believe. Believe in the Banff. Oh my gosh. That's cool. Stepped on my own mic cord as I go looking for this paint. All right, let's find it. Come on, Summer. We know it's around. I know we have some. There's tons of it everywhere. Holdra Blue. Or we're just going to make it up. I guess we're going to make it up. Sorry, Holdra Blue. You weren't around when I needed you.
Yeah.
You promised me the world, and then you didn't deliver. Fine. I'm going to go look in this box really quick, and then I'm going to give up. There was a whole bunch of it in this box, though. Nope. Nope. Oh, my gosh. I guess from now on, I'm going to have to bring my own. Dallas ran away with all of it. What a jerk.
You thiefed it.
He did. He thiefed it. That's okay. We'll make it up. It won't be as pretty, but we can do this. All right. So, let's come over here and grab... come here. I know. Get a little bit of that green out. So we know our Holdra Blue has that green to it. Maybe a little bit more green. A little bit more green. Come here, green. There you go. Now we went too far with the green. Come back with the blue. Ooh. Ooh, I think we're close. That's a little more green than we want, but that's okay. Let's pull out this phthalo blue. So this is the phthalo blue with the green shade, which I probably should have started with, but it's okay. There we go. All right, and then tick in a little bit of black. I want that to be pretty deep. Mix in my colors, mix in my colors. We'll run with this. See where this goes. All right. Nice and ready to go. Swap our brush. All right, let's see how our little concoction shapes up here. Well, it's a little thinner than I want, but that's okay. We can darken that up pretty easy. Overall, though, I think we got pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, I mean, one of the big challenges, obviously, like we've talked about a lot, is just readapting to kind of the new global situation, the fact that things do change. I don't think that it hasn't really super affected, you know, print and stuff like that. Obviously, when the pandemic was going on, print and play was really useful just to make sure that everybody had cool things to do while they were stuck at home. By and large, you know, we got really smart and great people at work all across Asmodee and production and logistics and all that stuff, and they've done an amazing job adapting and kind of retuning to the new norm, and it has really become a new norm, you know, as much as it can be, and then you just kind of adapt and adjust along the way as you need to, but we're just a little more cognizant of, you know, how far out things are, what the timelines are, all of that. And there are certain things that shift. You can't stop it. That's just life. But it's been good. Minstravaganza is going to be a blast in June. We're working on a new MCP Global campaign. One, Sarah Rowan, our fearless dev there, is concocting some pretty awesome stuff. I have to admit, I'm pretty excited for it. The current idea involves a pretty big wedding. So there you go. There's your spoiler. Like, there's a wedding? What does that even mean? How do you do that? I'm excited to find out. Some pretty cool ideas being thrown around, though. So it should be fun. It'll be very different. Certainly. It should be a blast, though. I love when those events kind of throw out some different ideas, and obviously we really like changing the standard gameplay for those special events, and I have no doubt that this one will be quite unique. Between, you know, securing wedding invites and arguing over what the DJ plays at the dance and all this, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be great. Yeah, let's see if I can get back there without messing too much up. You thinking like brown belts on this fella? I'm actually talking to you, Summer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You zoned out on me.
No, I was reading chat, trying to see if there was a
My gosh. Can't believe you did that.
I heard belts.
Yeah, we got to paint his belts. I'm thinking brown.
Brown.
Yeah. What color you want the belts?
Brown.
He's a colorful. Okay, what color then?
I mean, black if you have to do like kind of a boring neutral color.
Oh my gosh. A boring neutral color. You're just impugning the black right now.
No, I love black. I told you that's my favorite color.
I don't think you ever told me black was your favorite color. I don't think I've ever heard this statement before. Yeah, I mean, Electra's power generation is absolutely tuned to the rest of her kit. So one of the things that Josh and Pagani in her design really wanted to emphasize was kind of how she's this assassin, definitely out for blood. She has contracts that she has to take care of in order to, you know, do what she do as a assassin. And that kind of ability and everything that she did went through numerous iterations in playtesting. It originally started where she had rapid fire on the throwing daggers, and that was too oppressive with everything else that she did. And then we tried a bunch of different things with the throwing daggers. We changed their type, we changed their rules, we changed all this stuff. I think she went through the most iterations of any character during that cycle. And, you know, in the end, having that guaranteed 1 on every attack that she makes, with an attack that's pretty potent, she's one of those characters that you're going to make, you kind of have to make like some interesting choices with in terms of how you're going to spend her power, because she doesn't make a ton of it. But obviously everything that she spends power on is super impactful. And Impale is terrifying. And so part of the reason that Impale is as good as it is because of that push and pull of like power generation and the decisions you have to make it. I've watched and played in games where Electra has never used Impale, but been super impactful through like her assassin step and I think that's what it's called. Her place ability and just the potency of her builder. And I've watched games get completely swung around because she built up to that Impale and then got her target, and it was game over, man. She's a finesse character to use. Absolutely. But I think like one of the biggest things about her and just the way in which she kind of came together, she's pretty unique as well. And I don't think she's going to be for everyone, though I don't think any character really is for everyone. And she's got her weaknesses, she's got her strengths. Like I said, she went from strength to strength to strength until we finally got her to a place where she wasn't just completely annihilating everything on the board and being super oppressive. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what people do with her and what their experiences are. Like I said, she's not going to be for everyone. And I think she, like many characters, has a specific game plan she likes. She definitely likes it when, you know, your primary goal for the game is to go in there and murder things. She enjoys being in like Black Order rosters. I think she plays very nicely with Daredevil's new Criminal Syndicate kind of play, where she can benefit from those rerolls. But yeah, she's not a character that makes a ton of power. She's not a character that spends a lot of power. Like, she spends it pretty infrequently. And I mean, the original design, she actually had nothing to spend power on in her kit except for Impale. So that was a bit much in terms of just its oddity. But it did kind of remain in the various iterations through the fact that her builder doesn't generate power and stuff like that. She's on a power budget, but everything she does doesn't necessarily require her to be spending a ton of power, like, you know, unlike a character like Doctor Strange, who's very much built around using superpowers all the time. Electra doesn't need your superpowers. She just needs to murder you. But it all added up to a very different character. And I think something that's, you know, going to be really interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, she's very good in any affiliation that will give her extra power. A-Force, Cabal with Red Skull, Magneto. She becomes exceptionally terrifying because, again, you know, it's a character that is balanced around that power limitation being one of the things she does. And I feel like if I paint these belts black, you're just not going to love him as much.
What do you think about gold?
Oh, no, we don't want gold lame. No, it's too ostentatious. I think you could either go dark purple. I could do like the dark purple I've got on the gloves here. I could do that. I think that would look pretty good. Or we might be able to get away with like really bright pink. Like if you want some pink on this boy, we could put the pink there. Oh, well, you got to pick. Do pink. Okay. Pink it is. Grab some of this magenta, grab some of this white. All right, well, I need you to have a little bit of influence on this pink here. So like a really soft bubblegum pink, or a little bit more like red rouge pink.
Let's do a soft pink.
Yeah, a really soft bubblegum pink, okay. So that is mostly going to be our magenta and our white. We got to get that magenta undertone in there for sure. No blue in this, just a little bit of red. More white. I want this to be pretty soft. All right, it's kind of like a tongue pink. Tongues have a lot of purple in them. It's not true, but you know, if I was going to name this paint, it'd be like Cotton Candy Frizz or Cupid Kisses. Whoa! I like it. It's bold. Cupid Kisses. I know which meeting I'm not inviting you to. Paint naming. I'm not sure that Cupid Kisses is, I don't know if that's on brand or not. Maybe. If you've sent in any request or portfolios or stuff, if you sent those in, you should get responses back. If you haven't heard, you can always like ping it again. That's the best way to do it, but it kind of depends on. I know we posted a couple of positions for full-time here in the office and stuff like that. Those ones go through Asmodee, so we don't actually see those. So those have a whole process that they go through before they get to us. So that process can just take a while. If it's like a freelancer thing, or you're looking to, you know, maybe do some art or painting, what I would say is if you haven't heard back in a little bit, just go ahead and ping again. It might have gotten lost. We get a lot of stuff in, and I know that not all the different departments heads check all the time. So never hurts to just give a little bump, a little bumpity bump. It's all good. This guy is giving me ice cream shop flashbacks. I used to work in college. I worked at the ice cream parlor. That's what these colors are bringing back to me, Summer. I hope you're happy.
Is that good or bad?
I liked it.
I worked at an ice cream parlor too.
It gave me the tennis elbow though. People don't really appreciate how much of an intense workout scooping ice cream is. Like doing the double dips. It's hardcore.
That muscle.
It does. It works your elbow real tough. I go through like 500 scoops a day. I'd get done. I'd just be like, I can't move my wrist. My elbow's just on fire. It was crazy. It was a lot of fun though. And no, I did not eat the ice cream. I was like, I wanted anything but ice cream by the end of it. I was like, I'm sick of this ice cream. That's why I would never work at a donut house, because I can't imagine not loving donuts anymore. It'd be the worst. Thing is though, like I feel like I could work like at a breakfast place and work the line, sling hash and stuff, and I'd still love breakfast.
I'm not a breakfast kind of gal.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. What about like breakfast for dinner?
Yeah.
Is it just the timing of breakfast that you don't like? You don't strike me as a morning person.
Oh. No, I just, I'm being honest, don't really like eggs too much. So.
Oh, you and my oldest child, he hates eggs. Is it because they're too sulfury?
I just don't like the consistency.
Okay, but I mean, I don't know if I can consistency on eggs. I don't know if I can go with that though, because like the consistency is highly dependent on how you cook the egg.
Well, I mean, either way, I feel like they're slimy.
Maybe you just need to overcook your eggs a little bit.
Maybe I need hard scrambled, but I'm not a big fan of scrambled either. So.
It's just a no-win situation with you.
I know. Kind of gal I am.
All there is. Goodness. I mean, eggs are not my favorite part. I really like the breakfast potato, hash browns, O'Brien's, all that stuff. So good.
And O'Brien is very good.
Yeah, you get that pepper and onion in there, crisp it up all nice. So good. So good. Get some like fried tater tots. Man. Just starch in general.
You just want potato.
I do. No, I told you, it's like my favorite part of the whole shebang is just all the potatoes. But, and again, I also think that, you know, a lot of the times really good French fries are better than a burger. I'm just a starch guy. I love potatoes. Taters all the way. All right, let's see. Let's go back to this really quick. Just want to touch up around his face. Around, what did we determine what we call these little like eye decorations? Summer. I got to be able to count on you, Goose. Like how you're literally Googling it now. This makes me happy. I don't know. I assume the only way to find information in our wonderful world these days. All right, let's go back in. Figure out. I got to think of how I'm going to shade. Or maybe just highlight this soft pink belt. But we'll figure it out. All right. 10 minutes. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get his eyeballs kind of knocked in really quick. Oh. up. Messy, but it's fine. We'll clean it up here in a second. Swap this out, grab a little bit of this black. Do a little bit of under eye lining. There we go. How's a little winky face?
I'm not sure, sir. I'm not sure what we call that part of the fence.
I'm gonna call it the eye pockets.
There you go.
The eye guards. Who knows? There's got to be a term for it. Like on one Peter Parker Spider-Man, or really any Spider person, they're just the eyes. But his like frame the eyes. They're like goggles, but not goggles. Let's mix a little bit more white into our soft pink. Create a little bit of a highlight here for this stuff. Let's do some really quick edge highlighting on the belt. Add a little bit of poppy highlights. Let's get that smoothed out. Give a little bit of dimension to it. I gotta think about how I want to ultimately go through and muss with that pink, just to kind of like shade it down, but keep it soft and not red. Maybe a little turquoise would do it. A little turquoise in there, turquoise. Shade it down, bring it to that blue angle, not lose our softness. Whoop. Making a mess. That's okay. Look at that. It's gone. Just erase it out. Kind of hitting those little zinger highlights on this. It's a quick little cheatery way to give something a bit more contrast in life. Knock that in, not worry about it too much. There. Oh, I didn't even get to the foosh. I was still looking forward to the foosh. And then, of course, we got to go through and dark line this bad boy, which will help push that contrast even more. That is a job for not on this. Add polka dots. Oh my gosh. What color polka dots would one add here? There we go. A little bit of that. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh gosh, too much blue. Abort, abort. A little bit of blue in there. Let's add that shadow. Just get a little like duller shadow in. Mix that up. Ooh. Sometimes fixing things makes more of a mess. It's okay though. Can do it. Come back around here to the back of the belt. Teeniest bit of black in there just to dull it down. We're so in shadow on the back that it almost needs that little bit of black that you normally wouldn't put in there because it should just be a dead shadowy color there. Get this like in the cover. Blend that out, blend that out. Cleaner brush, cleaner brush. There. Slip that in like that. I was gonna say polka dots are pretty nuts. To make those look really good, that would be an exceptional amount of work. It'll look cool though. It'll look pretty cool. Get that underside. Get in our darker color. Going from that super shadow to super light. Kind of do that same thing around here. Super shadow. Super shadow. Where that shadow goes. All right. There we go. All right. Maybe come in here. Get that a little bit of shade. Get that a little bit of a shade. Since we're away from the light. A little bit of this to kind of define the Deadpool buckle that we haven't really messed with yet. Get in there. Do that. There. All right. Well, we are basically at time. So we did pretty well in this Deadpool. We still have the swords and we got all of this stuff on the base to go. But we did get our body colors down. I definitely am going to go back through with this, do a couple of highlights, probably do a little wash to tone that back down. I'll mess with the boots some because they're kind of two-toned right now, which is a lot of cleanup. But overall, I think we have a really nice structure going on for our Deadpool, and I'm really happy with the way this magenta bodysuit turned out. So, and I think our blue, hold your blue, is going to look really sharp next to it. We'll mess with these soft pinks a bit more, get them a little bit more defined. I think once we do some dark lining, it's going to make them super pop really well. Let's just test this theory, shall we? Oh yeah, that's what they need. They need that comic book dark line right there. Yeah, look at that. Look at it. Dark lining, you're like a cheat code. You almost don't even have to highlight anything if you just start dark lining it. It's nuts. Get that belt. That up. Get that nice separation away from the body so it pops. You get that contrast. Oh yeah, perfect. Build that in. Dark lining, so much fun. Okay, so anyway, so you can see the real big difference here just from that single dark line. From this side to this side it's all mushy in. This side now we have all this nice definition and contrast. Dark lining. If you do one thing on your miniature, dark line it, especially on these fantastic Marvel characters, because you're thinking comic book character. Comic book characters are all black lined. This is the way to do it. So dark line all your different colors. You don't even have to go that crazy on your highlights and stuff. But with that, we're going to say goodbye to Synthpool here. I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. Dallas is going to be continuing on the amazing crashed TIE Fighter diorama that he started a couple weeks ago. So be sure to tune in for that. I don't know if he's going to finish it, but I'm sure he's going to make some excellent progress on it and get it pretty close to done. Looks amazing, very exciting. And you can, of course, join us back here next Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll be painting up some more cool things. And be sure to check out the social medias for all the latest and greatest Atomic Mass Games information. Till next time, it's been great having you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye. I'm the Synthpool. He loves the dubstep.